Before she was the CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki made a decision that would ripple through tech history. She rented out her garage to two young founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. That garage became Google's birthplace, and Susan, she wasn't just a bystander, she would become one of the most powerful women in Silicon Valley. Her journey from a garage host to tech icon is nothing short of legendary. Susan didn't just watch Google grow, she joined it. In 1999, she became Google's 16th employee heading marketing, but her vision went beyond ads. She pushed for products that mattered, like Google Images and AdSense. Each decision she made wasn't just tactical, it was personal. Susan believed in building tools that empowered people. This wasn't just a job, it was her mission to shape the digital future from the inside out. In 2006, Susan saw something most executives didn't: potential in a small, scrappy video site called YouTube. While others saw copyright chaos, she saw the future of content. She championed Google's $1.65 billion acquisition, a move considered risky, even reckless, but Susan knew video would redefine how we connect, learn, and express. That decision wasn't just historic, it marked the beginning of her personal stake in a global cultural shift. In 2014, Susan Wojcicki took the reins as YouTube's first-ever CEO. She stepped into a platform exploding with creators, controversies, and cultural power. It wasn't just about managing a website, it was about navigating a global stage. From monetization to moderation, Susan's leadership would redefine what it meant to run a tech giant. She wasn't here to play it safe. She was here to lead through complexity with purpose and conviction. Under Susan's leadership, YouTube launched its partner program, turning hobbyists into entrepreneurs. For the first time, everyday creators could earn a living sharing their voice. It wasn't just innovation, it was empowerment. By 2016, YouTube had paid billions to creators globally. Susan wasn't just building a platform, she was shaping an economy, the creator economy. And with every decision, she doubled down on one belief: access to opportunity should be for everyone. But success came with storms. Between 2017 and 2019, YouTube was rocked by controversies, extremist content, advertiser boycotts, and algorithm backlash. The headlines were brutal. Critics questioned Susan's leadership, but behind the scenes, she was pushing reforms, stricter policies, better moderation tools, and transparency updates. It wasn't about pleasing everyone, it was about doing what was right, even when it hurt. Susan stood at the center of chaos and chose to stay. Amid criticism, Susan never lost sight of her North Star, the creator community. When Article 13 in Europe threatened content freedom, she spoke out, publicly defending creators' rights to share and monetize. She wasn't just a CEO, she became a shield between lawmakers and voices around the world. In a world of shifting policies and power plays, Susan took a stand for the people who made YouTube what it was. Susan didn't just shape platforms, she challenged tech status quo. As one of the few women in leadership, she pushed for diversity, not just in hiring, but in who gets heard. From LGBTQ+ creators to underserved voices worldwide, she opened doors. Her message was clear: innovation thrives on inclusion. In an industry often blind to bias, Susan made it her mission to spotlight stories that once went unseen. Susan's impact didn't go unnoticed. Time named her one of the world's most influential people. Forbes listed her among the most powerful women in tech year after year. But Susan wasn't chasing titles. She once said, "Success isn't about power, it's about purpose." While others measured profits, she measured progress. Her influence stretched far beyond YouTube. It became a benchmark for leadership with integrity in the digital age. In early 2023, Susan Wojcicki stepped down as CEO of YouTube. After nearly a decade leading the platform, she chose to focus on family, health, and personal projects. The announcement shocked many. How could a pioneer just walk away? But for Susan, it wasn't an end, it was a pivot, a reminder that even the most powerful careers must make room for life, and in that choice was leadership too. Every time a video is uploaded, a voice is heard, a dream is shared. That's Susan's legacy. She didn't just lead a platform, she reshaped the way billions tell their stories. From bedroom creators to global movements, the ripple of her decisions is felt in every corner of the internet. Titles fade, roles change, but influence, that stays. And in many ways, YouTube still carries her signature, frame by frame. Long before boardrooms and billion-dollar deals, Susan Wojcicki was just a curious girl growing up in Palo Alto. Her childhood home, just a bike ride from Stanford. Surrounded by academics, her mind was wired for ideas. She ran lemonade stands, edited the school paper, and asked big questions. Her parents nurtured independence, never pushing, just encouraging. That spark, it wasn't ambition, it was curiosity, and it would shape everything she'd do. Susan's journey took her to Harvard, where she studied history and literature, not tech, but it was there she learned to think critically, write clearly, and question deeply. Those skills would prove just as powerful as code. She later earned an MBA and studied economics, layering business logic over human insight. In a sea of engineers, Susan's strength was never lines of code, it was the clarity of thought behind every decision. It was 1998. Susan, newly married and needing extra income, rented her Menlo Park garage to two PhD students from Stanford, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. At the time, it was just a side hustle. But that cramped garage would become the birthplace of Google. Susan wasn't just hosting history, she was stepping into it. Within months, she joined their company, turning a real estate decision into a life-changing leap. In 1999, Susan officially joined Google as employee number 16. Her title, marketing manager, but titles meant little. Every day was chaos and invention. She didn't just promote a search engine, she helped shape it. From early ad products to user insights, Susan pushed ideas that made Google not just functional, but human. In a sea of coders, she translated tech into something people could actually use and trust. One of Susan's most impactful contributions at Google was leading the creation of AdSense. The idea was bold: let websites earn money by displaying relevant ads. Simple today, radical then. Susan championed it, convinced that empowering publishers would scale the web. The result, a multi-billion-dollar product that changed online business forever. With AdSense, Susan didn't just shape Google's revenue, she helped democratize income for creators worldwide. In 2005, while leading Google Video, Susan noticed something curious: people weren't using it. Instead, they were flocking to a scrappy new site, YouTube. Most execs dismissed it as chaotic. Susan didn't. She saw engagement, energy, community. It wasn't polished, but it was real. She quietly began building the case for acquisition, seeing not what YouTube was, but what it could become. That foresight would change the future of online video. In 2006, Susan's pitch became reality. Google acquired YouTube for $1.65 billion. It was one of the largest tech deals at the time, and many called it reckless. But Susan saw further. She wasn't buying a product, she was investing in culture, creativity, and community. That bold move turned YouTube from a startup into a global stage. The deal proved what Susan always believed: real value comes from human connection. With explosive growth came unexpected problems: copyright strikes, misinformation, and content moderation nightmares. Susan, now overseeing YouTube from Google's executive team, faced mounting pressure. Every new policy risked alienating creators or the public, but she leaned in, developing new systems, building trust teams, and walking the tightrope between free expression and platform safety. It was no longer just about growth. It was about responsibility, and Susan carried that weight every single day. In 2020, as the world shut down during the pandemic, YouTube became more than entertainment. It became a lifeline. From remote learning to frontline stories, the platform exploded with meaning. Susan mobilized teams overnight, elevating health authorities, combating misinformation, and supporting creators hit by ad slumps. She wasn't just running a company, she was holding up a global community in crisis. In those months, leadership wasn't loud, it was steady. After the chaos of 2020, Susan turned inward, asking hard questions about tech and mental health. She championed tools like screen time reminders, wellness breaks, and take-a-moment prompts. Critics saw them as minor features. Susan saw them as essential. In a world addicted to engagement, she quietly fought for balance, not for metrics, but for people. Because real leadership isn't just about growing numbers, it's about protecting lives. Susan knew the future of YouTube wouldn't just be global, it would be generational. She launched YouTube Kids, funded educational creators, and supported digital literacy programs worldwide. For her, kids weren't just a demographic, they were the architects of tomorrow's internet. By protecting young viewers and empowering young voices, Susan wasn't just building a platform for today. She was planting the seeds of a safer, smarter digital future. As YouTube grew, so did the tension. How do you protect free speech while curbing harm? Susan walked a tightrope, upholding creator voices while enforcing global standards. She introduced content strikes, fact-check panels, and region-specific moderation. Critics came from all sides, but Susan stood firm. Platforms have power, and with that comes duty. Her goal wasn't to silence, it was to steward a space where truth and creativity could coexist. Susan didn't just see creators as users, she saw them as entrepreneurs. Under her leadership, YouTube launched Super Chat, channel memberships, and Shorts Fund, giving creators new ways to earn. This wasn't charity, it was ecosystem building. She believed sustainable creativity required sustainable income. In every update, her question was simple: how does this help the creator? And that mindset turned YouTube from a platform into an economy. When TikTok disrupted the video landscape, Susan responded with YouTube Shorts. Some called it imitation, but she saw it as evolution. In just months, Shorts exploded, fueling a new wave of mobile-first creators. Susan's team reimagined discovery, monetization, and storytelling in vertical format. It wasn't just about staying relevant, it was about staying innovative. Once again, she didn't resist change, she embraced it and brought millions of new voices into the fold. Behind every bold move, Susan quietly built something deeper, a legacy of mentorship. From interns to rising execs, she became a guide, especially for women in tech. She listened, advised, and shared her missteps just as openly as her wins. Her office door was never closed. In a field known for ego, she led with empathy. because Susan believed you don't just shape products, you shape people. Despite leading one of the most visible platforms on earth, Susan Wojcicki never chased the spotlight. She rarely gave interviews, avoided flashy appearances, and focused on work over image. In a world obsessed with visibility, she proved that quiet power could lead just as loudly. Her story isn't loud, but it echoes. And maybe that's the lesson: you don't have to be viral to be vital. When Susan Wojcicki stepped down in 2023, there was no grand farewell tour, just a blog post, grateful, grounded, and full of grace, but the silence said everything. The creator economy, platform governance, content monetization, these weren't just tech trends, they were Susan's fingerprints. Her departure wasn't an exit, it was the final proof of a leadership style that never needed headlines to make history. Susan didn't build an empire of code, she built an ecosystem of voices. Today, over 2 billion users visit YouTube monthly. Millions earn a living, ideas, movements, cultures, all flowing through the platform she shaped. And while her name might not trend, her influence is embedded in every upload, every monetized minute, every safe space carved out for creators. What Susan leaves behind isn't a product, it's a platform for possibility. Susan Wojcicki's story teaches us that leadership isn't about noise, it's about clarity. That vision doesn't have to be loud to be revolutionary, and that real innovation serves people first. In a tech world chasing disruption, Susan built trust. In a culture obsessed with speed, she chose sustainability. Her path wasn't typical, but it was intentional. And maybe that's the greatest lesson: you don't follow trends, you build what lasts. Away from metrics and media, Susan is a mother of 5, an advocate for education, and a believer in balance. She gardens, she reads, she hikes. Her life beyond tech is quiet, but rich with intention. While the world saw a CEO, those closest to her saw a human being with values rooted in empathy. In the end, Susan's greatest success may not be digital at all, it may be deeply personal. Susan Wojcicki didn't just change YouTube, she changed what it means to lead in tech, not with flash but with focus, not chasing influence but building it. Her legacy isn't just in features or policies, it's in every story told, every creator empowered. And if her journey teaches us anything, it's this: platforms evolve, but purpose endures. So subscribe, stay curious, and remember, the next big idea might be waiting in your garage.